The earth groaned, then it screamed. A monstrous roar split the serenity of the Italian morning. The ground beneath Campania shuddered. A horrifying spectacle unfolded as Mount Vesuvius's less famous neighbor, Campi Flegrei, reawakened. The eruption, anticipated yet terrifying in its sudden fury, began. A column of fire and ash erupted skyward, a terrifying pillar of nature's unbridled power. The idyllic landscape around Naples transformed into a scene of apocalyptic chaos. The earth buckled and heaved, riven by seismic forces. The air grew thick with the sulphurous reek of the underworld. A monstrous cloud of ash, a death shroud woven from pulverized rock and volcanic glass, began its inexorable ascent into the atmosphere. Panic gripped the populace. The idyllic life they knew, the vibrant culture and history of the region, all seemed to vanish in a heartbeat. All was engulfed by the overwhelming dread of the unknown. They were facing a force beyond human comprehension, a force that could rewrite the fate of nations in a matter of hours. This was not just an eruption, it was an apocalypse unleashed. Across the Bay of Naples, a new horror unfolded. The eruption triggered a series of colossal waves. The sea, once a source of life and trade, transformed into a churning mass of destruction. A wall of water over 30 feet high slammed into the Naples coastline. Buildings crumbled, swallowed whole by the relentless surge. The tsunami roared through the city streets, an unstoppable torrent sweeping away everything in its path. Ancient monuments, testaments to the city's rich past, were reduced to rubble. The cries of the terrified were swallowed by the roar of the wave. The lucky ones, those who had heeded the early warnings, had fled to higher ground. They could only watch in horror as their beloved city vanished beneath the waves. The tsunami subsided, leaving behind a scene of utter devastation. Where once a vibrant city thrived, now lay a wasteland of debris and seawater. The stench of death hung heavy in the air, a grim testament to the thousands claimed by the waves' fury. Naples, a city steeped in history, a jewel of the Mediterranean, was no more. The ash cloud from Campi Flegrei, a monstrous plume of darkness, began its relentless march across the globe. Carried by the prevailing winds, it stretched its tendrils across Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Day turned to night as the ash blotted out the sun. A perpetual twilight descended, casting the world in an eerie, unsettling gloom. The weight of the falling ash proved unbearable. Roofs collapsed, crushing those seeking shelter beneath. Transportation ground to a halt. Roads rendered impassable by the thick drifts of ash. The air, thick with volcanic particles, became a health hazard. Breathing became difficult, even dangerous. The world watched in horror as the skies rained ash, a silent, suffocating killer. The global communication network, already strained by the scale of the disaster, began to fail. The internet, that lifeline of the modern world, sputtered and died. With it went the ability to coordinate relief efforts, to track the spread of the ash cloud, to understand the full scope of the disaster. The world, plunged into darkness and silence, was cast adrift. The eruption of Campi Flegrei was not just a regional disaster, it was a global catastrophe. The sheer volume of ash ejected into the atmosphere had a devastating impact on the planet's climate. Global temperatures plummeted as the sun's rays were blocked, ushering in a volcanic winter. Crops failed across vast swathes of the globe, starved of sunlight. Food shortages quickly escalated into famines. The delicate balance of global trade collapsed. Transportation networks, already crippled by the ash fall, ground to a halt. The world, interconnected and interdependent, began to unravel. The initial shock and disbelief gave way to a desperate struggle for survival. Governments struggled to maintain order as panic and desperation gripped the populace. The old world order, the systems and structures that had governed human society for centuries, began to crumble. In the face of such overwhelming chaos, humanity was forced to confront the fragility of its own existence.